It's morning. I parked in this overnight parking spot on my way to my next destination. It's a pretty sunrise. I got like one of the last spots really. I got here literally right at sundown. Show you the other side where all the rigs are. So there's actually designated campsites over there, but I had to take, one on the side of the road, which is not designated, but that's fine. It's free. And it was really quiet last night, so it was really nice. I'm in Idaho still, close to Twin Falls, Idaho. I was going to go this morning to see the Shoshone Falls, but I was looking at the live cam this morning and it's kind of a trickle. So I guess I'm going to skip that and just head on out to my next destination. Yesterday it took me far too long to get here. I made a few stops, groceries, and sightseed a couple of places, and it felt like it took me all day long to get here, even though it was just a 4-hour drive. So I'm going to try to get an early start this morning and not make too many stops so I can just get to my next destination and take it easy. That looks fun. Shooting this through my front window. Just coming right over our little park here. Well, I came to this Centennial Park here in Twin Falls to check it out, and it was actually rather scary getting here, and I didn't realize what I was in for, but once I got on the road I was committed. But I had to come in on this really steep road, and I'm not looking forward to going back up it. It goes all the way up. You could only go 10 miles an hour on the hairpin turns, so I'm not looking forward to going back up. I'm rather scared, actually. But it's beautiful here. I saw people zip lining and I don't know what you call it, but flying in the air here, and there's a sports complex here somewhere, I think. It's got this amazing rock formations here and a waterfall over there. I just spoke to a local and he said, "Oh, you should be fine going back up. It's early enough in the day that there won't be a lot of cars and you should be fine. Just put it in low gear." So I'm just going to do a quick look-see here to see Snake River. Wow, these rock formations are really amazing. What a city park, man. Let's see, how do I do this? There's this, this is Snake River, and there's a big bridge over there. And somebody hung the American flag off of it. I don't know how they managed to do that, but let's see if I can get a better view down here. Snake River, I realized, goes a long, long way, and I'd never heard of it before until this trip. And I had read on one display that up in Wyoming, at least, it's one of the purest rivers in the nation. Doesn't look too pure here, but I bet it is up there close to where it actually starts at the beginning. Yeah, those dark rocks over there are really interesting looking. Okay, well, I'm going to attempt to drive back up that road before it gets too busy here. Wish me luck. I think I mentioned another clip that I was having slow draining bathroom sink, and so I purchased this at Home Depot in the powder packs, and I poured the powder, a whole packet in my shower, a whole packet in the bathroom sink, let it sit overnight, and then flushed with hot water. And it was better, but it was still slow draining. So in the package, they include this tool, which I have one of these at home. And they're really useful, actually. They go down deep into the drain, and you push it down into the drain as far as it'll go, and then pull it out, and usually you pull out gobs of hair, which is kind of gross, but that's what did the trick. So between the packet and this tool, I was able to fix my slow draining sink and shower. So I wanted to share that with you for the RVers out there. It's safe for the gray tank, safe for the RV, and worked great. Works great. So I am at an RV park right now near Wells, Nevada. It's called Welcome RV Center, something like that. Welcome RV, just west of Wells, Nevada. It was a last-minute decision to stay here. I actually had camping reservations. My hair is doing horrible things today. At a campground up in the Ruby Mountains. What was it called? What do I don't have it written down here? South Ruby Campground near Shantytown. And so I was doing a little further research on the route to get there and looking at a couple of reviews, because I put a lot of planning into this trip, and I made a lot of reservations, and some of which I've had to cancel and get refunds, especially excursions and stuff like that I decided I couldn't or didn't want to do. So thankful for refunds. And I tried to plan most of my camping, but towards the end of this trip here, I kind of, was getting tired, so I didn't quite plan it out as much, but I still made some reservations, and I had a reservation at the South Ruby Campground. Well, come to find out, it's like 40 miles of rough washboard road to get there, and I'm like, no, I'm not up for that. I'm not up for 40 miles. There was a different route that you could take, but it would have taken me longer. You could take a route that goes through Elko, I think it was, and it was only 5 miles of rough road. But then when I was looking at the route after I camped there to my next destination, again, it was a long ways to go, because it's a remote location, And a recent review said the road was pretty nasty. So I thought, nah, I'll have to just, lose out on the you know, money that I paid, because I already put up $25, was $12.50 a night on recreation.gov. And I'm not up for that. So I booked this RV campground. I'm finding that RV parks, especially I guess if they're kind of in a more remote area, they tend to have openings at the last minute, so that's nice. This one was only, I think, around $42 a night for full hookups, including sewer, so that's rather nice to have. That's a good price, actually. But it is kind of out here in the boonies a bit. I'm here 2 nights, and then I carry on to my next destination. So, you know, I made a couple of executive decisions the last few days that I'm glad for. There was, let's see, so I think I mentioned before, there was, coming from Grand Teton, I wanted to go see Craters of the Moon Monument, but you had to go over the Teton Pass to get there, and I'd come to find out the Teton Pass is one of the steepest passes that you can go on, and you know, my RV is not doing great on hills and mountain passes. It's really slows down a lot. Even if my tanks are empty, it just doesn't have the power. So it's really scary, and you know, drivers get upset, I'm sure, because I'm going so slow, and it's possibly even dangerous. So I thought, no. And I literally found out about that when I was just about to get onto the Teton Pass. Thankfully, you know, it pays to read the signs and heed their warnings, because it said this is a very steep grade, like 10%. And as soon as I saw that sign, I just did a right turn and went back the way I came. So I was like, no way. So I ended up taking a longer route, but ended up unfortunately missing Craters of the Moon Monument. It was going to take me too far away, you know, and so I was kind of bummed to not be able to see that. So as you saw last night, I did an overnight boondocking spot that I found last minute. I'm a planner, and I don't particularly like doing things last minute, but I think it's good for me to exercise that muscle for a little bit here and sort of get used to doing that, because there's times when you have to make these last minute decisions where your plans don't work out. So it's good. You know, this is a good practice for me to do this last minute decision making. And so, so that's really good. So I came down here yesterday, and I tell you, I am really suffering from driving anxiety. You know, I had that near miss in Yellowstone, where that big diesel pusher came over into my lane and was heading down the hill towards me, and now I have PTSD from that. I mean, as if things weren't bad enough already. And so now, like yesterday was all the way, was that 2-lane highway, kind of narrow. You know, it just feels like you're barely missing semis and big diesel pushers and stuff. And it was windy, and I could feel, you know, I was starting to get into the desert, and so you could feel the wind buffeting you around a bit. And I'm like, oh God, this is really scary. I was white knuckling it. I was white knuckling it so much that when I got here last night, I was having tingling and numb fingers. I think I had a pinched nerve from, you know, doing this for 3 hours or whatever. No, 2 hours it was yesterday. And I noticed the desert wind started kicking up around noon, you know, and I'm like, wow, that seems kind of early. You know, I thought it usually starts around 1, but of course there's no set schedule. But I did a little research, and I found out that it's best to actually travel in the very early morning, sunrise if you can. That's a little early for me, but you know, it's when the ground heats up that it starts to create more wind. So your worst winds tend to be early afternoon to the evening. So it's best to travel if you want to avoid the winds in the early morning hours. So tomorrow I'm going to get up as early as I can manage and try to get on the road as early as I can, because I'm definitely nervous now that I'm in the desert about driving in the wind. I did a little research this morning, and I found you know, there's that Windy app, but I don't really find it easy, you know, user friendly, that Windy app. So I've downloaded another app. Oh my gosh, I'll have to put up the name when drive something. Let me look it up and tell you. The app is called Drive Weather. Never heard of it before. I've never heard anybody mention it before, but I like it already because I was able to put in my route tomorrow, and it tells me the forecast for, what the sustained wind will be miles per hour, as well as the wind gusts. And it tells me right along the route that I'm going what it's going to be at a certain time of day. So that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. You have to pay for that feature to find out about the wind. It's $6 if you want to just do it by the month, or $18 for the year. So I just decided to do it for a month so that I have, $6 for the month for the rest of this trip, and they'll make me feel better since I'm now in the desert and definitely more windy. So yeah, I'm, the driving anxiety is definitely a barrier, for me, for getting out here and doing these longer trips. I mean, I kind of, I'm wondering, just how much I'd be capable of doing like longer trips like this again. 6 weeks at a time is just a long time to be out there and experiencing this anxiety, when I'm driving. It's just, it's so hard when it's like the 2-lane highway, even though yesterday, at times it was saying 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour. And I only like to go, 60, 62 miles an hour at most. I mean, that's the speed I feel safest at, and the speed that, helps me with the gas cost, because it's so expensive. My rig is only getting probably 9 miles per gallon, so it just helps me to not go so fast. But, you have all these speed demons behind you, piling up behind you, and then they zoom past you to get around you and scare me. And there's some, close calls where they didn't really do it fast enough, and there's oncoming cars, and all that stuff scares me. It's like the anxiety, I remember when I was young, the speed limits were more like 55. I was discussing this with another older gentleman, and he said, yeah, I remember the day when speed limits were 55, but nowadays with the fuel efficient cars, speed limits keep going up and up and up. And then of course people always drive much faster than the speed limit. And that's why wildlife gets killed all the time, because people are driving too damn fast. And, they're driving 15, 20 miles above the speed limit. And so anyways, as I'm driving yesterday, there's a lot of cars piling up behind me. And that actually really stresses me out too, especially if there's no turnouts, but if you're going at a high speed, like 55, 60, it's really difficult, unless it's a huge turnout. It's really difficult to pull out and try to let cars pass. So I don't know. It was very stressful yesterday. I was almost saying to myself, I'm almost ready to just go home now. I have a couple more weeks, but I'm ready to go home and get over this driving stuff, and just really having a hard time with it, So, it's interesting, because the barriers on my trip that I did earlier this year were mainly my back pain and the driving anxiety were the two things that made me realize that I couldn't do full-time, RVing. This time my back is so much better just from doing a simple core exercise. It's a lot. I have some back pain, but nothing like it was before. So the core exercises are really helping. So I kind of solved that issue. So that's good. But I don't know how to solve the anxiety issue. I don't like drugs. I don't want to be taking drugs. And, it kind of scares me, because I don't want anything that's going to impair my driving ability or make me sleepy or anything like that. So it's just kind of a hard one, I'm sort of thinking that the only thing I have in me is maybe one time a year to do a longer trip like this. And then other than that, just short trips, 2 or 3 day trips closer to home, but these long trips, I wish I could just drive. The times that I felt the best was when I had the road to myself, of course, and there's nobody around. I could go the speed I wanted and just relax and enjoy, because I love driving. I actually love driving. But it's the other drivers that really make me nervous. I wanted to mention, I was really surprised. The best state that I enjoyed driving in the most out of all the states I've been to? New Mexico. New Mexico was wonderful. I had the road to myself, you know, driving there quite a bit. Not, of course, when you're in Albuquerque and stuff like that, but when I would drive, I did few trips up to Santa Fe, and it was just a wonderful drive. And then I went up to the area where Georgia O'Keeffe lived, the artist, and it was like nobody around, and I just had the road to myself, and it was bliss. I mean, all my life I've lived in California with all this traffic all the time, so it was a beautiful experience for me to go to New Mexico and not have all that traffic. I loved it. Well, I was interested to find out that, you know, Wyoming was really trafficy, Idaho was really trafficy, Nevada even, it was a lot of traffic. You know, I don't know. I was in New Mexico maybe, gosh, it's probably been 8 years ago, so maybe it's different now. I don't know, but back then it was great. But I was surprised to find Wyoming and Idaho and Montana and Nevada all a lot of traffic, you know. And I was bummed because I thought, gosh, I would love it if I could have that experience again of having the road to myself. It's just a wonderful feeling. So nice. There's a short little walking path here, and I think these are aspen trees because it has those beautiful shaped leaves and the white bark. But I'm not sure. These are not turning golden yet, but maybe here in Nevada it's too early. They have 5 acres of land that they bought, and the owners live on the property in their house. It must be nice, you know. Just live right where your business is, and they have caretakers. This young couple, you know, running it for them. And look at these great old trees. They told me that they close up October 15th. It's already getting kind of cold and leaves are falling all over the place, and they close up for the winter mid-October. That's about a month away. Even though the drive here yesterday was stressful for me, I sure enjoyed all the expansive views. I was driving from Twin Falls, Idaho, down here to Wells, Nevada, and it was a stressful but beautiful drive. And here's the park. Yeah. It is right next to a busy highway, so it's loud during the day, but last night I didn't hear much traffic at all. Didn't bother me. But yeah, it's a nice place. It's a very beautiful RV park, isn't it? The trees, you know. A lot of RV parks don't have the trees, and it's kind of amazing to think that there's all these trees here in the desert, but we're in the high desert, so, you know, they get a lot of winter runoff. Yeah, if I didn't have to do the RV driving, I'd be out here all the time, because I absolutely am loving seeing all these different places and new places every day. I mean, this certainly beats sitting at home in my apartment on the couch most of the day. This is such a much better life, much better life. Yeah, I still wish I could do it full time, but I just don't. It's not in my capacity anymore. Trying to think of other ways I could travel, but it's challenging because I'm still working, so I only get so much time off. it's expensive to maintain a home and try to fly places and rent cars and motels. That's out of my budget. So I don't know. I'm not sure how much traveling I can do while maintaining a home at the same time. It's pretty difficult. I almost am dreading, looking at my credit card statement to see how much I've spent on this trip, and then also at the same time maintaining all my home expenses. It's probably going to be a shocker. And I wish I could do this full time, but I don't think I can. It's because of the driving anxiety, and I don't know how I could solve that issue. And so then I don't know, well then if not that, then how can I travel and still work, put up Starlink and all that stuff, It's just challenging to think about trying to do it any other way. So I have a feeling I'm going to be relegated to just maybe one long trip a year and short trips, just some short trips, I may not ever make it back east. There's so many places I'd love to see back east, but I don't know, in Canada, but I don't know if I'll ever make it back there, May not be doable for me. I'd love to spend some time, in Vermont and Maine and just the whole eastern board, really. Love to see Niagara Falls, all of that, the national parks over there, I'd love to see those. I don't know if I can do it, though, financial and otherwise, and still maintain my jobs. It's challenging as it is in an RV. I can't do it any other way. I can't see how I could. So these are not apples. They sure look like apples, but the worker here told me that these are Asian pears. So I guess they're going to grow up to be Asian pears. They're really beautiful. They said, please don't pick them, so I won't. They look like they're ripe apples, don't they? It's beautiful. Actually, wait a second. You know what? I think these are some kind of apple, actually. They sure look like an apple. I think the Asian pear tree is this one here, actually. This looks possibly more like an Asian pear. I don't know. It looks like an apple too, but I think these are apples. All right, what's this tree over here? This might be the Asian pear tree. Yeah, this is the Asian pear tree, I think. Yeah. They're hard like apples, these Asian pears. They're very high in fiber. I know that about them. I don't really like them too much. I like regular pears better. It's cool. It's cute. This park has like little games that you can play, and they have a ladybug game, scavenger hunt, so that's really cute. I just found the ladybug. Yay! Look at this tree trunk. My goodness, it's right out of a fantasy movie. Wow. This is incredible. Gosh. Look at it. That grizzled bark. Wow. One of their selling points on their website is that there's this is artesian water, because it comes direct from the mountain across the way. And they told me that they have it tested for safety, and it's showing as safe to drink, but I probably would still filter it. Maybe I'll come over here with my Berkey filter and get some of that water and then filter it through the Berkey Sport bottle and see how that goes. see how it tastes. So I was told that the owners here don't live here year-round. They are snowbirds, so that must be nice. So this is the tree that she said is a box elder tree. Look at that base. Wow, I've never seen anything like that before. She said something about the leaves. If you break them in half, they smell like mint. I might try it. Look at that tree, this box elder. I did smell a leaf, and I smelled a faint smell, very faint smell of mint, I think. This is my breakfast. I have Thin Crisp rye sourdough crackers here, which I love. Then I have some spreadable cheese. It's kind of like a cream cheese, goat, spreadable goat cheese. Then I have some sliced cucumbers. Then I have some smoked salmon. Then I have some fresh dill and some fresh sprouts on top. And then I drizzled a little bit of olive oil. If I had some lemon zest, I would drizzle or sprinkle some lemon zest over the top, but I don't have any lemon zest right now.
In a quarter mile, turn right to stay on US 93 South. Take the next right to stay on US 93 South. Continue on US 93 South for 59 miles.
Well, I left the RV park this morning. I got out by about 8 a.m. and I am driving up to Ely, Nevada, and then to my next campground called Ward Mountain Campground. It's about an hour outside of Great Basin National Park, which is my next destination and what I'm going to be visiting. This morning was a really nice drive, not too stressful on me. I had the road a lot to myself, so that was really nice. It was really nice to have hookups yesterday. I was able to take a shower. I decided to cut my hair. It was driving me crazy, and so I just cut off as much as I dared, and I get away with a lot because I've got curly hair, so it feels so much better to have it shorter. And yeah, I was able to charge everything up, and so I'm happy. The weather has been so nice. I feel like this entire trip I've lucked out pretty much. It was hot in the beginning, when I first started out at the beginning of August. It was pretty hot. There were some hot nights. But being at the higher elevations, man, it's really nice. So I've just been loving this dry climate and the weather. It's been great. And minimal bugs, too. I didn't realize that when you're at higher elevations, I guess that's what it was. I don't know. But it seemed like when you're at higher elevations, you don't have as many mosquitoes. So that's been really nice. So I feel like I got some color on my face for some reason. I wasn't out in the sun yesterday, but I'm just, getting a little bit of filtered sun, probably even just driving. So it's beautiful mountain scenery. It's kind of reminding me of Death Valley when I was there earlier this year, and I love the desert scenery. It's bringing back some memories as a kid because I was born in Las Vegas, and I remember, you know, those long desert drives where it just seemed like the roads went on forever. And when we moved to LA, we still would come back a lot to Las Vegas. So, you know, I just remember those long drives between Las Vegas and Los Angeles. So with my mom and my sister. So it's bringing back memories. Feels great to be in my home state where I actually was born in Las Vegas. And I haven't explored much of northern Nevada, so I'm excited about this. I'd like to really do more of that if I can at some point. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Eli. I've heard a lot of good things about it. And yeah, Great Basin National Park. Woohoo! Well, I'm excited. I just arrived. It's about 11:30 in the morning. I just arrived to the campground. Again, it's called Ward Mountain Campground, and I think it's a national forest campground. And I was able to get a great spot and Loop B, so it's a little quieter back here rather than in Loop A. And it was easy because I just could get on recreation.gov and pay for it through the website. So pretty cool. And it's a really clean, nice, large campsite. I immediately put up, there's no shade, so I immediately put up, you know, that window covering in the front there, the silver thing, because I think it's going to get pretty hot in here this afternoon, hot in there this afternoon. It's pleasant outside in the shade, like right now I'm standing in the shade and it's quite pleasant. There's a breeze and it's just perfect. In the sun it's a little hot. But boy, they keep this campground clean so far. It's pretty empty back here. Let's go take a look. There's no other campers near me right now. I'm sure more will, you know, come in later. Some of these are reserved and some of them are first come, first serve. So I've never done first come, first serve before, and I'm glad it worked out. So it was a little nerve-wracking. Because, you know, you're not guaranteed a spot, so it was a little nerve-wracking for me. But it's very nice. I think it's going to be nice and quiet and peaceful. You know, it's mid-September right now, so I just don't think it's... I mean, I've already noticed since, you know, the kids are back in school, campgrounds are a lot quieter. Especially, of course, during the week, so... Yeah, really nice. They keep it super clean. This is one of the cleanest, nicest picnic tables I've seen in a long time. Nice clean fire pit. And nice clean grills. And look at this. Wow, what is this? A cooking surface, I guess. I guess it was a hot enough day. You could probably cook right on that. I absolutely love the high desert because, you know, you get the desert, but in the wide open spaces, but you get the greenery and the trees. So I really love high desert a lot. Looks like I have a little bit of a mountain view from my spot. I'm surrounded by all these beautiful pine trees. Gorgeous. Just fit into this spot. Matter of fact, I feel like they said that you know, if you're supposed to be 24 feet or shorter, but I fit just fine on this, so I'm going to stay. I already paid, so yeah, so I'm 3 nights here. So I'm excited. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to take off for the day and go see Great Basin National Park. I don't know how much there is to see, but I know I'll visit the visitor center and go on the scenic drive on Wheeler Pass. I don't think I can go all the way to the top, that's for sure, but at least part way. And yeah, It's about an hour away from here. And then I'm thinking Thursday, I'm gonna take a train ride. They have down in Eli, which is about just 10 minutes away. There's a railroad museum, as well as you can take train rides. So I think I'll do a train ride. I love trains, so I think that would be a fun thing to try. So that's the plan. Then I leave on Friday. So yeah, this is great. I think I'll set up my chair in the shade and just relax and take it easy this afternoon. I've got to work, so thankfully I won't have to move because there's plenty of sky for me to set up the Starlink. I won't have to worry about that. This is a great campground. I'm really happy that I was able to get 2 nights, first come, first serve. And then the third night, actually, I reserved already before I even started this trip. So I'm glad I was able to get 2 extra nights. Just put up the awning. And that'll provide me some really nice shade this afternoon. So it's quite lovely, as I said, in the shade. I'm glad that I haven't put up my awning much on this trip. And yesterday I practiced, took it out. It was a little rusty, and I wanted to make sure that, because we had a lot of rain, that there wasn't, that it hadn't gotten wet in there. Sure enough, it was a little bit wet, so I'm glad I let it out. And yesterday, that was at the RV park, and so I'm glad I practiced and refreshed my memory on how to put it out. So, I am just in love with my rig. I love it so much. It's just perfect for me. The size, the comfort level, these little things, like I can have the awning. Yesterday I was able to climb up through the loft area and clean my solar panels without standing up, just lean over and clean them. And, I took a shower yesterday. It was quite comfortable. I just love my rig. I'm so happy with it. And it's cute. To make it feel a little bit more homey, I've started putting on this little cotton blanket on my chair to make it look less like a camping chair. My little welcome mat. I'm loving that this is little rocks, not so much dirt. It's difficult when there's like dirt. And these little rocks are quite nice to walk on, so I don't feel like I need to put out my bigger mat. But, this is lovely. The peace, the quiet. Guess what the cost of this was? With my senior annual pass. $7. $7! I would pay $7 over staying at a dispersed camping site, unless it was way out there in the boonies or something. But then again, you're way out in the boonies, and that's a long way to drive to find something more remote. But, for $7, this is quite nice. I think, if I was going to be a full-time camper, I think a good strategy for me would be to disperse camp in the summertime because, all the kids are out of school and the families are out. And you have the screaming kids and the barking dogs. And the parents yelling at the kids. So it would be kind of nice if, you could just be dispersed and be out there away from all that. But the rest of the year, I like campgrounds. I do. I like campgrounds a lot, actually. And I don't mind if there's a few people around me, It just, like last night, my neighbors at the RV park were so kind and so sweet. This guy and his wife, they pull in next to me. And he said to me, he says, "We're trying to pull forward enough so that you still have a view." You know, I'm like, wow, that's so thoughtful of you. Thank you. They look like that couple in their 70s, maybe. And he said, "So where's your dining room? We want to accommodate that." And I says, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm going to be sitting in the back mostly, where my bedroom is, and I have a great view from there, so don't worry about it." But so sweet and so kind, and leaving the RV park, everybody's waving at me and stuff, and so it's nice to have that kind of sense of community. And if you get into a pickle, you've got somebody there that can help you. And not. The thing that I love about being alone and being single is that I can do what I want, when I want, how I want. But if I get into a pickle, that's when it's really hard, to try to always have to resolve everything, figure everything out by yourself. You know, you have no one to divide the labor with. And so, anyways, it's nice when you're around other people because they can help if you need it. So, I don't mind being around some people. And, as long as they're quiet, that's the most important thing to me, is that they're not playing their music really loud. I mean, I stayed at an overnight spot in Idaho Falls, one night dispersed camping spot. And a couple of people were playing their music, too loud. And so, I mean, it was a crowded dispersed camping spot. So, there you go. You have, more noise inherently. But right now, this is really nice. I'm loving this. I wonder what the elevation is here. I'm thinking between 6,000 and 7,000 feet. I'll have to check. I have some cell service here, which is amazing. 4G, maybe 2 or 3 bars. I just checked the weather, and it's 70 degrees right now. But it's interesting because it feels hotter than that when you're in the sun, for sure, I guess, because I'm at a higher elevation. I can just feel that sun beating down on me. But it's perfect in the shade, and there's just a little bit of a breeze. It's going to be a high of 74, so perfect. I'm sitting here. There's no bees bothering me, no mosquitoes, a few flies, but that's it. I mean, this is heavenly. I'm happy. I had a lot of fun at the national parks. But there is a lot of people. It's a lot of traffic, a lot of people, crowds, and that's fine for a short while. I was okay. But by the end of my 2 weeks, about 2 weeks between Glacier, Yellowstone, and Grand Teton. I was ready to go after a couple of weeks. And so to be here now where it's nice and quiet, there's not a lot of people around, is quite lovely. I love this. I was thinking as I was driving today that, I want to do some winter camping too, some fall and winter camping. Lucky thing of living in California is you can camp year round, really. Of course, I wouldn't be going up into the Sierras or anything in the wintertime, but I could go up to the redwoods if I wanted to. In November, December, January, I could go to the redwoods. I could go to the coast, I could go to Central California. There's all kinds of possibilities because I have had so much fun on this trip. It's just, it's I think I mentioned it before. It is kind of addictive, because you're seeing these new views every single day and changing it up, and it's so fun, and I love it. I love, even driving here, it was beautiful. And aside from my driving anxiety, the road today was better. It wasn't quite so narrow, so I wasn't quite as stressed out. So that was really great. And last night I took magnesium. I took this product called Deep Sleep that has all these herbs that help you sleep. And I also took a chewable GABA, which is a supplement. And they're all calming herbs. And I wanted to see if it would help me with my driving today. And it did seem to help a little bit, I felt more peaceful today driving. It was partly due to the fact that I had the road more to myself. It was less traffic, and the road wasn't quite so narrow with a steep drop off on the right side. So it just made it a lot less stressful. Yeah. You know, the speed limit was 70 miles per hour, but I refused to go past 65 miles per hour because, I mean, the gas costs, wow. But yeah, so I'm hoping to keep going with, you know, camping as often as I can because I sure love this. I've had a blast on this trip. It's been really wonderful. In fact, I was thinking this trip is supposed to end kind of around the third week of September. I'm thinking I might extend it another week or two into October because I'm having so much fun and I don't want to stop. I don't want to go back to my boring life in that apartment, sitting on the couch, watching TV, watching other people have fun while I sit there on the couch. It's just not fun. Not fun. I mean, there's something to be said for it, you know. It's like there's the stability and you can really cook a lot more for yourself, more healthier things. I feel a little more limited in here as to how many things I can really cook. You know, I have to keep things pretty simple. So I can't do any elaborate, not that I'm doing a lot of elaborate recipes anymore anyways, but still I feel more limited as to what I can do because, you know, you don't want to use up your propane. You don't want to use up if you, you're using your portable batteries, use those up too much. So you have to just be conservative. You have to be thinking about that all the time if you're boondocking. So I just feel a little more limited as to what I can make, you know. I just have to be a little. So I'm looking forward to that when I get home, being able to cook more and more things more variety. And, you know, there's pros and cons to everything. All I know is, you know, I want to keep doing this and do it as often as I can and not let too much time go by, you know, because I was thinking, oh, you know, you might put this in storage in October and not take it out again until next March or something. But no, I want to definitely do some trips this winter and local camping trips and whatever I can manage. Well, it's late afternoon, early evening now, and the sun's about to go down in the next 20 minutes or so. Took a nap, hoping to kind of get rid of a headache that I have. I think I've got a pretty bad headache because of the elevation that I'm at, and I forgot to really drink a lot of water because I think I'm a little dehydrated, and that's why I'm having a headache. So drinking some lime ginger Nixie sparkling water soda right now and enjoying the cool evening. Got a little hot in the rig, about 82 inside the rig, not too bad this afternoon, but now that the sun's gotten lower, it's just perfect right now, inside and outside. I love this mountain view that I have at this spot. He wasn't a ranger, but I guess he's maybe the park host came by my site a couple hours ago, and he was quite the talker, and he was telling me some stories, and he said that there was an 80-year-old guy staying here recently at this site, and the 80-year-old guy stole that piece, the prep table, which I've never seen at a campground before. But there's a way to unscrew it and take it. So 80-year-old guy helped himself to the prep table. And another story he told me was that there's a 14-day stay limit here, and he knocked on the door of this one woman who'd been jumping around to different campsites for 2 weeks, kind of, he thought trying to work the system, as it were, and she got very confrontative with him when he knocked on her door and said, "You've stayed more than 14 days," and she got pretty, what's the word that I'm looking for? I can't think of it right now. I don't know, just obstinate and diligent, not diligent, but obstinate and argumentative with him. And she says, you're just being rude and everything. She was very angry with him, and I'm going to call the ranger and complain about you. And so she said to him, "Can you prove that I've been here for more than 2 weeks?" And he said, "Well, it's not really a matter of me proving. I've been keeping track, She said, "Well, I'm going to call the ranger and complain." And she actually did. She called the ranger and complained. And the ranger ended up saying to him, "Just let her stay," Guess the ranger didn't want to deal with her, so they said, "Just let her stay." But he told me that he didn't think that, the park was going to fill up at all. It's a Tuesday night, and so far nobody has arrived. There's a camper a few sites down, but nobody close by me, so it's still really peaceful and quiet right now. And he doesn't think that, this late in the season, they close mid-October. Or actually, he said that they stop charging a fee by this weekend, or like in the next week or so, they will stop charging fees. And they're open year-round. However, there's too much snow here in the wintertime, but conceivably you could come stay here into September, early October for free. It's normally $12 a night, without the senior pass fee. So you save a little bit of money there. But it's a very nice campground, and that park host, he says he's the one that cleans them up and takes pride in the campground, and he does a great job. It's one of the cleanest campgrounds I've ever been to, National Forest wise, and newer too. I mean, usually a lot of the national forest campgrounds are pretty old and run down, with old picnic tables and stuff, but this one's really, really new and nice. So, yeah, I'm really glad I'm going to be staying here for 3 days. I'm excited. This afternoon I was perusing the recreation.gov Great Basin National Park website, and unfortunately I couldn't get any tickets for the Lehman Caves tour. You have to book those months in advance, and they seem to be all booked up. But I'm going to take a chance when I go tomorrow. I'm going to still see, of course, if they can sell me one ticket anyways. And they have 2 different tours. One is like over an hour tour, but it doesn't appeal to me. And actually one became available for it earlier today, and then it was gone. But I could have grabbed it, but I didn't want to do an hour tour in the cave. It's going pretty far into the cave, and there's parts where you have to squeeze, or like it's very narrow passages, and I'm already worried about my claustrophobia and trying to go into those tight spaces. So I'm more interested in doing the 30-minute tour that's called the Gothic Lantern Tour. That sounds awesome. But they had no tickets available for that. But I'm going to keep checking tonight and see if I can score one, if there's any last-minute cancellations. In fact, I should check again right now. And it's only like $4 to do the tour. It's 30 minutes. It's just sort of getting us, ascent. You're not going so far into the cave, so I think I can handle that. The other thing that I'm kind of narrowly escaping is that starting on Thursday, tomorrow's Wednesday, is when I'm going to go and explore Great Basin. Thursday's the Astronomy Fest, and they said that parking and stuff is pretty difficult. It's a pretty popular event, and it goes for 3 days, and they have all these astronomy events, which I actually would be super interested in. But, you know, I won't... I don't think I want to try to deal with, you know, parking of my big rig and everything if it's that popular of an event. But so maybe I'd come next year in a car or something. I don't know. And just tent camp. I could do that, but I doubt it because I want to come here with my rig because I'm going to probably continue on to Utah to see the national parks there. But yeah, so I don't know if I'll be able to ever do the Astronomy Fest, but that sure sounds like fun. I just checked the weather forecast, and it's going to get down to 33 degrees in the early morning hours. So I had better turn on my propane heater so that my pipes don't freeze, and open up the cupboards just in case it gets down to freezing, because 33 degrees is pretty close, so it's going to be chilly. Yeah, the sun set a few minutes ago, and it's already getting pretty chilly. To go inside and get my jacket on. Yeah, it's so funny in the desert. It's so cold in the, you know, night and early morning, and then it warms up so much during the day that you have to change into shorts. As soon as that sun goes down, back into your jacket. I'm up here just checking out another campsite. This one has 2 prep tables. I guess this must be for 2 campers. It's a pretty wide site here. But, yeah, there's nobody camping close to me. Oh, okay, there's a water spigot. All right. I was hoping to find one that is on the right side, because there's one up the road, but it's on the wrong side of my rig, for my rig. But good, this is perfect now. I can just pull up here and fill up on the right side. Cool. I haven't been hearing very many birds. Just hearing crickets right now. But I have my clock set. I'm a little close to the town of Eli, so I don't know how dark it will be, but I'm hoping to see some good stargazing tonight. Come out at 9:00 p.m. and check it out. But yeah, this is a really nice campground. I would definitely stay here again if I was in the area.